Hi, I'm Cece with Cece's Wool. Today we're going to make a comforter stuffed with wool. This is part of our new comforter kit that we have online. So we're here to show you how to put this together. There will be instructions with the kit as well, but initially your kit will contain 2 pieces of this beautiful cotton sateen fabric. It has one side that's a tiny bit shinier. We want that on the outside so it's nice and slippery to slip into your duvet cover. And you'll have 2 sheets of this that are 90 by 90 inches wide and long. Perfect size for like a queen or a double comforter. And our batting, we're gonna unroll. This is also 90 by 90 inches long. And Julie's gonna help me take it apart. It's helpful if you have some friends to help you with this and really big tables to spread things out on. So we're going to continue to open this up, move it in the middle, and then we're going to straighten out our fabric. We want our fabric to pull on the fabric on the bottom. It helps to have a friend to help you. You don't need the paper, obviously. Just unroll it. Your wool will stay together in one piece. If you need to stretch it a little bit, you can certainly go ahead and do that. Are you covered on that side? Mm-hmm. So we're just stretching out the wool. We're going to lay another piece of fabric on top, and then we'll tuft all 3 layers together. The shiny part. Because I can't reach the middle, you want to start tufting in the middle. We're going to roll all 3 layers. Pull it towards us. Yeah, that's good. I'm going to get my tufting needle. You will have a needle in with your kit, and you'll have this nice strong cotton thread to do the tufting. And we're starting in the middle, then we're going to work our way out. We're going to tuft about every 12 inches. Does not have to be in a straight line. And you can tuft more. You can draw lines all over the sheet if you want it precision tufting. It's not necessary because you're putting it in a duvet cover to protect it from being dirty. So first one in, I'm lifting up the material. I'm pushing through the needle up to all 3 layers. I'm going to leave a little bit of the thread out, about 6 inches. And I'm using my finger to feel where the thread is, and so I don't have to look at it underneath. And then I'm pulling through all 3 layers back up. So there's a little bit of a gap there. And then I'll need scissors. Thank you. So I'm going to cut that. Don't cut your fabric. Oops. And then I just tie it with a square knot and just make sure it's nice and tight. And then I like to cut as I'm going along. So there's my first tuft. I'm going to go on either side of that initial one about 12 inches. And that's about here. And I'm just using the fold as the fold in the fabric as a guide. I lift it up underneath. And then I want to put the needle in the same area, and I'm using my finger underneath to help me guide it. And I'll hold on to that so it doesn't disappear on me. Cut it. So I'm going to do that all the way on either side of that center, and then I'll start slowly building out. Every 12 inches we'll put another tuft. So we'll be right back with more information. Okay, we're back with our do-it-yourself comforter kit. We've done all the tufting. We did it about 12 inches apart, and we did it, about 6 inches from the edge. Now, we had to do this without seeing what's going on underneath. So if you turn it over and you're not happy with something getting a little too gathered in the back, you can just like this one here. We had a little bit too much fabric. We can cut that and retuft it. So if you can fix any issues like that. The next step will be cutting the fabric and then removing some of the wool on the edge so we can sew it. So when you unroll it to get to more of the tufting, make sure you're straightening your fabric out, especially on the bottom. Just give it a little tug, just to line it up and make sure there's no folds underneath that you can't see. Just give it a little tug and make sure the fabric looks straight. Perfect. Okay, we're back. We've got our beautiful queen size comforter all tufted. The next step is to trim the edges, because obviously we want to sew these together. The first thing we have to do is trim up the wool inside so we've got a pretty level edge. All I'm going to do is, because I want to keep that wool, I'm just going to push it back a little bit. So over here, it's a little bit loose on the edge. I'm just folding it under. So my wool is kind of in a nice straight edge. So I'm going to just fold it under. Yeah, that's pretty good. Now I need to cut the top sheet and the bottom sheet, and I'm going to fold the bottom sheet over and top stitch it down, and that's going to enclose my wool in my comforter. So I want about 2 inches, well, actually an inch from the edge of that wool. So as you see, it's about 2 inches all together, but it's going to slide down and then come out. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of create that crease, and that's going to be my cutting line. And hopefully that'll be enough. And I have this nice tool that's going to help me measure about an inch out from that crease. So fingers crossed. And I'm just cutting the top sheet right now. And you can get a ruler, or this gadget can be found in any craft or sewing store. And just make sure I'm lifting this up so I know that I'm just cutting the top sheet right now. And we're back. So we've done our first cut. We cut off enough to have overhang and an inch. Now I'm going to cut this back, the bottom sheet, 2 inches. So I've got 1 inch here, and I'm going to cut, this is my cutting line here. I'm going to cut this 2 inches. Then we're going to fold this over twice and top stitch it down. And I just want to sew the fabric. I don't want to sew all the wool, which is why I've pushed the wool inside. So I'm going to cut my bottom sheet to be 1 inch longer than my top sheet. Okay, we're going to go to this edge now. I have a nice straight edge on the bottom. It was cut evenly. So I'm going to use that as my guide. And I've got to cut back some of the wool first because it's just a little too much. So you have 2 options. You can fold it over, but then your edge is going to be kind of thick. So I'm just going to pull off, and you can just pull it apart. The staple length in the wool is about 4 inches. So if I have my hands close together, I can't pull it apart. But if I have my hands apart like this, I can easily, pull off some on the edge. And I can save that for an area where I might want more stuffing, or use it for stuffing, or stuff a pillow, whatever you want. There, now I've got my bottom, has more space. I just need to cut now the top to the right length, the right width. So again, I'm going to use my little guide. And I just want 1 inch more than after that crease. Remember, just make sure you're cutting the top or the bottom. Don't cut both of them. Okay, so we've cut all our fabric to size. Remember, we're pushing in the wool a little bit. We want the top layer to hang over and just a tad, like 1 inch past the wool. And then the bottom layer is 2 inches past the wool. Then I fold the bottom fabric over once, and then I'm going to fold it again on top of the top layer of fabric. And then I'm going to pin this. I'm using some nice long pins. And I'm going to pin this all the way around my comforter, and then I'm going to sew it. And at the corners, just line it up. If you have a little too much extra fabric, just move things around a little bit. And I'm going to pin that. I just bent my pin. This fabric is very fine weave, so it's a little stiff at times, but I think it'll hold up in the long run. Now we're just stitching down our comforter. We're doing a top stitch, and we're holding the fabric taut as we're sewing. That's going to help get a nice even stitch. Top stitching down the comforter where we folded it over, taking the pins out as we go. helps to have a big table for the comforter. Someone to help you hold it while you're stitching, so it's not pulling on you as you're sewing.